Hey everybody, in this video we are actually in Fort Myers, Florida, and we're going to talk a little bit about the pros and the cons of living in Fort Myers, Florida, because we know, of course, every place in the country has some pros, but it also has some cons to living there too, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton.
I'm Mackenzie Cowan, a new home sales consultant down here in Southwest Florida.
And I'm Josh Cowan, a local real estate agent in Southwest Florida.
Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Fort Myers, Florida, or anywhere in Southwest Florida, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also tap the little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. And we have people reaching out to us from all over the country with questions about Fort Myers, Florida, of course, but all of Southwest Florida. So if you have questions at all about living anywhere in Fort Myers or anywhere in Southwest Florida, then make sure you reach out to us any way that you know how. We'll always have your back with those questions, and we'll certainly have your back whenever it comes time for you to make your move to Southwest Florida. All right, again, so in this video, we're gonna talk about some of the pros and the cons of living in Fort Myers. And a lot of people will think South Florida, it must be all pros. But we all know that every place in the world certainly has some cons. So we're gonna get into some of the pros here first about living in Southwest Florida, and they aren't necessarily always the ones that you might think of as the standard pros. And then we'll get into some of the cons too, and some of those hidden things that if you're planning on moving to this area or thinking about moving to this area, that you really need to think about and need to be on your radar before you actually do that. All right, so pros first. Pro number one.
Pro number one, we're going to talk about lawn maintenance. So with the beautiful weather, the sunshine, and the rain that comes with living in Southwest Florida, we have a lot of rain. Yeah. We have a lot of greenery, and so with that requires a lot of lawn maintenance. But lucky for the homeowners that live in Southwest Florida, we have a lot of lawn care provided as part of the benefit of the HOA within your neighborhood. So that looks different in many different communities, but generally speaking, the lawn care with not just the entrance to your community, but within the community would include the mowing of the grass, the maintenance of the shrubs, keeping the palm trees trimmed, as well as even some communities provide irrigation and mulching. So it's a huge benefit to people who are moving to Southwest Florida and maybe either not capable or not willing to do all of the lawn care that it requires.
Yeah, and HOAs, oftentimes when you talk to them, they think HOA and they kind of cringe, but not all HOAs are necessarily bad, and those HOA fees can go to something pretty beneficial, like lawn maintenance, taking it off of you, for sure.
Yeah, nothing better than having somebody else make your yard look perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. So
yeah, you can come home from work and have it off your plate. Yeah, huge pro.
So another thing that completely drives people to Southwest Florida, and it is encompassing with the weather, would be always something to do. So that's a huge pro, is that there's always something to do. Entertainment for your lifestyle down here is huge to Southwest Florida. So that looks very different in many different ways. So you could not only have the beaches to go to, the shopping to go to, but things like farmers markets, flea markets, art shows, art fairs, things of that nature, to just get out and enjoy that weather and, you know, meet new people, bring your pets with you. So you're moving to a place that is more pet friendly, more walkable, and just a lot more opportunity to actually enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, which is definitely good because obviously a lot of people move to South Florida for that weather. It's warm all year. So you want something to do along with that, and not just golf. A lot of people think about South Florida and it's golf, and that's it.
Golfing in the beach or a pool.
Right.
But there's a lot to do outside of that, and since it's nice outside, a lot of the restaurants have outdoor seating and a lot of outdoor entertainment as well. So if you want to hear some live music, you have that opportunity year-round down here.
Yeah, like in the middle of January, middle of February, which is pretty nice.
Exactly. Then outside of, just the beaches, if you're a nature lover, there's multiple state parks around, rivers, kayaking, canoeing, all sorts of stuff to do here.
Yeah. All right, so the third pro for living in Southwest Florida?
Would be resort style living. So what that looks like would be gated community with something that would be heavily amenitized. So it may be a boating community, it may be a golfing community, or potentially just the heavily amenitized resort style pool with the water slide, or just, you know, really nice cabanas. And then usually within those communities you will find a restaurant, as well as sports courts and a variety of other things to offer.
Yeah, so kind of, there's a resort style essentially for every age. So
Correct.
people coming here to retire and they just want to play golf all the time, or they want to play tennis all the time, there's probably some kind of community for them. But if you come here and you're not retiring, you're just moving to South Florida, you got a family, say in your 20s, you got a couple of kids, very young, there's probably a community that's resort style.
Catering to them,
yeah,
correct,
right.
That's right.
They even have places that have fitness center with a daycare that drop your kids off for an hour. They'll watch your kids while you go work out.
Right there in your own neighborhood.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. So definitely, like you said, rich with having those type of communities, a lot of choice with those kind of communities in a place like Fort Myers and all of Southwest Florida. All right, another pro for living in Southwest Florida would be travel opportunities, which isn't necessarily something that somebody might think about all that much. But what does that look like?
So there's two parts to that. So the first part, which is something that people don't think about, would be how often are you traveling down to Southwest Florida, and what would that look like if you lived here and now you have that time freed up and you get to travel elsewhere. You get to spend your vacation somewhere else and see something new. So that's the first part. The second part would be actual travel opportunities within driving distance or nearby distance in Southwest Florida. So another neat thing that we offer here in Fort Myers would be the Key West Express. So a lot of people get on that ferry and it takes them over to the Keys, and so that's a really nice travel. Often 2-hour drive, you have Miami, Florida, and that has so many opportunities with cruise ships that you can go to and just a completely different lifestyle there. And then you have the airport nearby too. If you want to go anywhere else in the world, now you live here in Southwest Florida, you can go and travel and take that vacation time, not to try to escape bad weather, but maybe see something new.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually in Southwest Florida something I've never had thought about. A lot of people, like you said, use their vacation to go to the beach. They use that week or two, whatever it is for the year. Well, now you actually live near the beach and you could do it just for a day on a Saturday or a Wednesday.
Right, day trip.
Yeah, and then you can use your vacation to go someplace else, like skiing or in the mountains.
Right?
Yeah, Colorado, exactly, something like that.
Yeah.
Gives you more opportunity that way. So it's a really good pro to have.
Yeah, exactly. Like even Disney World, 2.5-hour drive, that's a weekend trip. Spend a weekend at Disney and then come back to Fort Myers.
Yeah, and it feels like you were there for 2 weeks.
Right.
2.5 days.
You'll be tired.
It's a lot of work. All right, so of course we've got lots of pros for living in Southwest Florida, and there are certainly more, but now we want to get into some of the cons, because of course there are some negatives about living in Southwest Florida. All right, so some of those cons, actually the weather is probably, at least people would think of it as the biggest pro to living in Southwest Florida, but it can also be a con too. So if you're used to living someplace else in the country and you come here in the summer, like in June, July, August, I mean, it is scorching hot. The temperature goes over 90 degrees pretty easily. It's extremely humid. And then there's the fact that some people don't want super nice, warm weather all year long. It just doesn't necessarily feel natural to them, of course. But then you've got a couple of seasons through the year in addition to just the overall weather. So of course they've got hurricane season. So once you get into the fall, after the ocean's nice and warm, the chance for having a hurricane. But also there's a rainy season. So basically from May to October, it doesn't rain every single day maybe in your location, but it almost rains every single day someplace in Fort Myers.
Right.
Yeah, and it can be, once a day at your location, or it could be 2-3 times a day. It's just kind of sporadic.
Yeah.
And it can be a couple minutes, or sometimes it'll just rain all day. When living down here, it's something you just kind of get used to. But with all that rain, then that's a lot of, like you said, moisture, humidity, which then impacts other things, not just inside the home, but outside the home. It brings on mold and other different things that you have to deal with, and there's ways to handle those. Outside, a lot of the driveways and everything here are pavers. You get mold inside your little knives and stuff. Either you can do it yourself, mold mitigation, just kind of handle it, different products that you can use to just stay on top of that. Or there's even companies that you can go ahead and hire, contract out, and just have them, do a visit every couple months, just kind of clean things up. But that humidity rolling inside is another big thing, depending on the age of your home, if it's equipped with a dehumidifier, or how the AC system handles all that humidity within the home. It's something that you also just got to keep in mind whenever you're looking at homes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because that humidity, you're exactly right. It doesn't just, it's humid outside most of the year, especially in the summer, and absolutely after it rains, it's exceptionally humid. So it does seem like the ground is wet or it's freshly rained very often in Southwest Florida, because it has rained very recently. Yeah, almost all the time.
A lot.
Yeah, so that humidity doesn't stay outside, it does get into the house, and so you do have to be a little bit concerned about that humidity being in there and have to get rid of it somehow, like Josh said, either through your HVAC system or some other method, like the damp rid bags, or and you have different parts of your house too that are maybe a little bit more prone to being more humid and retaining that moisture a little bit as well. So it's something that you want to keep on your radar for sure.
Right. Keep the water out.
Yeah, keep it out. Keep it dry inside.
Right.
Another con about Southwest Florida kind of plays back into that lawn maintenance thing and the HOA. And so in that case, it's a pro because you're paying this fee for the HOA and they're doing a pretty nice service. But they can also have a little bit of a con too. So HOA fees aren't necessarily the only fees that you could face as well. There's another.
Right, and the other one is called a CDD, Community Development District Fee.
Yeah.
And that's more so an annual fee, unlike your HOA fee. It's paid with your property taxes every year. A plus to that is, luckily, it is tax deductible. But what that CDD covers is pretty much those larger communities that have the resort style amenities, and that fee covers the maintenance, the upkeep of those amenities. Right, and then not just the amenities, but even the roads, the sidewalks, and it kind of just takes on some of what normal HOA fees covers and it splits it off. So then the HOA is just covering the rules of of the neighborhood, the approvals through the ARC, and just different things like that.
Yeah. So what people see with HOAs, they see a fee, and then if you tack on CDD, they see another fee, and suddenly it can then be a little bit more expensive to live in a particular location than you thought. So it's not necessarily something that could price you out, but it's something that you need to be aware of because it would be something that breaks down into a monthly expense for you that you may not expect. All right, so the last con that we'll get into here about Southwest Florida has to do with
poor public transportation, as well as the fact that there is a tourist season and that there could potentially be tourist traps. So if you are looking to move down this way, we would highly recommend having a vehicle of your own, because we aren't in a major city where you would see trains or something of that nature, like a metro, to get from one place to another. So, and if you have people that are visiting you, again, because there is a tourist season, there could potentially be tourist traps that you would want people to watch out for. And again, there's the Fort Myers Beach, which becomes a heavily touristy type area when spring break rolls around, with people coming from East Coast, Midwest to enjoy their spring break. So usually those times of the year, people who are locals may go to a different beach, or maybe avoid Fort Myers Beach unless they're okay with that, which some people are. But that is a potential con if you aren't in the mood to be around people that are out vacationing, spring breaking, and not someone that would be a local.
Yeah, and of course, since you have those tourist traps, they get really crowded and you have no public transportation, those tourists drive cars. So the traffic then just gets heavier and heavier and heavier.
Into the beach.
Oh yeah, you could have look on your GPS and it's a 15-minute drive to the beach and it turns into an hour, sometimes maybe a little bit more than that in getting there. So not really strong in the bus system, like you said, no trains, not even really a lot of taxis. So it's
I mean, you could always Uber, but
it's always more Uber than anything.
Yeah.
So it's something that kind of equates to a perfect storm, especially in that tourist season where it just gets exceptionally crowded in all those tourist trap type areas. So there's a handful of pros and some cons to go along with those pros about living in Fort Myers and really just Southwest Florida in general. So if you have any questions at all about any of the other cons, especially that you might find when you're living in Southwest Florida, because there are others that we didn't cover in this video, but pros too, then make sure you reach out. And until the next one, we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.